And I'm pleased to tell you that Talia and Tessa both join me now live on the desk. Welcome to the program. Welcome to Australia.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Talia, let me start with you. You've taken the fight all the way to Congress. You've experienced the discrimination, the hatred, and you've pleaded with leaders to do something about it. Does it help the case to see it detailed this way in the film?
Absolutely. I think that one of the biggest benefits of this film and the way that the story was told is that it shows very clearly that the things that were happening on campus, that happened to Tessa, that happened to me, and all of the other Jewish students on campus, it wasn't about politics or policy. It wasn't about whether or not you agree with, Bibi Netanyahu or not. It was really just bullying and hatred and support for terror. And these kinds of attacks weren't based in, it was not like a goodwill discussion that students were trying to have with the Jewish students or the Zionist students. When you would go up, for example, to the encampments, which is something that I did, I tried to have discussions with the students there, and they said they have a non-conversation policy with Zionists. They're not even allowed to talk to us. Many of them wouldn't look us in the eye. So it was very clear that it wasn't about having an environment of intellectual curiosity or rigorous debate about the policy issues. It was just about hatred and promotion of terror.
But these are fortunate people in some of the most prestigious academic institutions in the world, yet they're reveling in their ignorance.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard to watch. It was hard to see these students being so close-minded on campus and really, again, not being willing to engage in conversation. And I think the same thing happened with Tessa, when she was trying to talk to the students, as you saw from the clip, on the other side of the room. I'm sure she can explain more. Yeah. They wouldn't, have a conversation with her.
Yeah, Tessa, I wanted to talk, obviously you're elected to head up the student body, so there's an element of popularity involved in that. You won the election, yet suddenly this all turns against you because of this anti-Semitism. They they succeeded in having a vote to get you out of that, to remove you from the presidency. You prevailed, but tell us about the personal trauma of going through that.
I think it was really challenging, mostly because so many of my peers that I had really been working with, who really knew my character, knew the various accomplishments that I had already had with different student groups, they were some of the people that turned against me. And so I think that was a really painful thing, that people who you thought were your allies were so quick to change their minds. And I think it's kind of a striking parallel that we're seeing. And, we're here with the film, and there are these, striking similarities between what we went through on our campuses and what's happening here in Australia and on university campuses. And so it's pretty universal from what I'm seeing.
Well, I want to show you what happened here in this country on October the 8th and October the 9th, 2023, because I've delved into these issues so often since then. I think these two episodes were two of the most shameful episodes in our country's modern history. Have a look.
I'm smiling and I'm happy. I'm elated. It's a day of courage.
Yeah, our beloved opera house there, seeing that sort of hatred. Now, Tessa, let's start with you. It's so the film goes into this in some detail at the start, especially. But how do you reconcile humans celebrating the slaughter of other humans, especially when at this stage Israel hasn't even retaliated, hasn't even been able to reclaim the bodies of its victims?
I think if anything, it just shows you that this is not about politics. This is about anti-Semitism, and I think. I was just in Israel yesterday, and I visited Kfar Aza, and I saw the destruction that happened on October 7th and the brutality. And it's pretty unbelievable that less than 24 hours, we're still counting our dead, that people are already rejoicing in it. And so it really, really proves that this is Jew hatred.
Talia, you must have such a unique perspective on this when you have a Jewish side and a Muslim side to your family. Tell us about how those tensions play out for you.
Yeah, I grew up in a very culturally diverse family. So my father is Muslim from Afghanistan. My mother's Jewish. I actually have two half siblings. One of them is Hindu. One of them is Christian. I went to Catholic high school. So I grew up with a lot of cultural diversity.
He has it all.
But I was really shocked at the response on October 8th of people, again, rejoicing, not even giving us a moment to mourn our dead before having to fight back against misinformation and hate. And even with, other students so at that time I was studying for my doctoral qualifying exams, and I was in a group for studying with two other foreign students, and they were saying that the people who died in the Nova massacre deserved to die because they were partying on stolen land. And they told me this on October 9th. And so, yeah, it was very hard right after to deal with all of that.
It's unthinkable. But we only have about a minute left. I want each of you to give me 30. This is such a big topic. But in 30 seconds, starting with you, Tessa, what could we do to start overturning this hatred and ignorance?
I think the first thing is that we need to agree what this is about. And first and foremost, this is a fight for Western values and for humanity against hatred of all kinds. The thing that people really don't understand is that it starts with the Jews, it never ends with us. And so if we care about the free world and we can all agree on that, it will help us unite against this form of hatred.
Talia?
I think what Tessa said is exactly right. And I think it's really important to make sure, again, as Tessa said, Jews are the canary in the coal mine. This is, a battle against Western values, against democracy, against women's rights, et cetera. And we need to make sure that not just Jews are standing up and speaking out against this, that we have allies who are also standing up and speaking out against this kind of hate and this kind of, reveling in terror.
Well, it's great to meet both of you. I admire your courage. Congratulations on the stands you've taken. I hope you have a great stay in Australia. And Talia, you can pop into mosques, synagogues, churches, temples. You can do everything.
Yeah.
Have a great stay. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
That's Talia Khan there and Tessa Wexler, a couple of very courageous Americans. Keep an eye out for this film, October the 8th. It's going to be released in cinemas soon.